Hi, I'm Euge Valovirta, and this video is by your requests from your questions, because many of you have asked me lately, well, many things, but one of the things that you have asked several times is my bass sound, bass recording, bass processing on those YouTube intro songs and in general on my productions. So this is the song I used when I did the 1 year after owning the Lord Vader, the Mesa Boogie dual rectifier. This is in standard C tuning, so let's listen the song first a little bit and then let's go through the bass processing. Okay, you get the idea. So the bass I was using to record this was my ESP LTD Deluxe Phoenix, which has EMG active pickups. I have usually both pickups on and the blend is like 50-50, so both are on the same amount. That bass is in standard C or then drop B flat. That bass is ESP LTD Surveyor 87, and that I use for E flat. It's in E flat / drop D flat, drop C sharp tuning. So I use that on my songs that I use that tuning. So those two are the main tunings. The C / drop B flat is the CYHRA's main tuning, my band's, and then my solo stuff is usually in E flat or a drop from that. And I record bass always straight in with the DI box. My DI box is the radial. This is like the reamp station, and it has both DI box, which is the JD48, I think it's the equivalent active DI box, and then it has a JZR Chunk Unibirdie reamper in one box. So cable goes from bass to the DI box and then to audio interface, which is Pro Tools Carbon, and I always record that the yellow light is blinking. I set the input gain, so green is good if you want to play safe, but I like when it's yellow is blinking, then everything what I'm gonna show you here works, like compressor, everything, volumes, input gains, gain staging, it works fine when the yellow is blinking when I hit really hard. Red light is bad when it comes to analog AD conversion, because red light means that it's digital clipping when you're recording to a audio interface ADDA conversion, so that's bad. With completely analog signal chain, red light can sometimes be actually good because it just crunches. So most of the times I have two bass tracks, one performance. So I recorded this one first, it's a DI, then I just copied it to this other track. And two different sounds, and they combine one great sound in my opinion. On this song I used Samsung PSA1. This is what I use when I record. Let me show you my recording. Let's open the bass rec here, activate this one. So because I'm using, my interface is Pro Tools Carbon, so this means when this light on, it's zero latency. Now, all of these plugins, they are AX DSP and Pro Tools HD plugins, so I can record basically with zero latency. So I use this PSA1 when I record to monitor myself. And this Mac DSP's Aptos E3 compressor, 7-band EQ. I'm checking out some boxy mids and adding some upper mid presence and some lows. And this is like the SSL channel strip. This is AX DSP, so I use this when I record this is just here if I need to add top end or whatever to the recording or raise the volume or whatever, it's there. But like you see, this is DSP, so it's fine. So that's the recording chain that I modded myself. And I usually record bass with headphones because I play pretty hard and those bass are really loud. So the acoustic sound of the bass is really loud, and I don't like to mix or record loud because I get a lot ear fatigue really easily. Well, I don't know if it's really easily, I guess it's normal, but I record and mix fairly quiet. So with headphones, I don't need to crank these things to cover the acoustic clang 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 of the bass. So I use headphones, and my headphones are Sennheiser HD 6550s. I don't mix with headphones, I don't track anything else except vocals with headphones if I'm doing backing vocals here. So those headphones are mainly for recording bass. We can hide this and make this inactive. Okay, and then this PSA, this is the exact same chain that I just used because I recorded that. I'm familiar with that sound. It's a great sound, so I use this. So there's the Pro Tools own Sans Amp PSA 1. And then the same compressor, opto compressor. I like opto compressor on bass. Exactly the same EQ. So this first chain is, here I have SSL 4K, but it's only for the mic pre-color. This is a Jensen, like a preamp on the Revival channel strip. So I use these channel strips when I record guitars because I use real amps, real cabinets. So basically the bass chain is really similar, but only in a digital format. So that channel, it sounds like this. So there's a little bit of clean sound kind of blended in there, the DI sound, and then this kind of fuzzy, distorted, clanky sound. I have another piece which is more clanky. Let's listen to that. Okay, so that's just a clank. So sometimes I use that too. Okay, then it's kind of the main bass sound. It's either the parallax. This is called Clean Byte. This is a stock preset. Just use like it. I have other presets here too, but most of the time I use this Clean Byte, which is not actually a clean byte. When I record with my levels, it's kind of overdriven. It sounds like this. And then when we blend in the Sans Amp, the Sans Amp adds a little bit more bite and presence to the sound. And on this channel I have compressor first, the same opto. Here the red light doesn't matter because this emulates analog. The only thing matters if this channel clips, but it's not clipping, it's on yellow. So compressor, then the parallax, then another compressor, same. So you can see there's almost 20 dB of compressor on this main jack. I want the bass to be even. That's the solid foundation of the song, and that's the low end, what many people think is the low end on guitars. While at it, let me show you. So that's how I do it. There is low end on the guitars, but I've checking it out a little bit, and the bass provides the low end mostly. Okay, then we have again this 7-band EQ. Let me show you what that does. So I'm checking out the box. I think it's pretty similar. It's a little bit different on the SoundSam track. Checking out these mids, it just makes the bass more clearer, adding some bottom and some high. You get rid of that boxiness and bloatiness, which is just, you know, I don't really like that. And then I have this low control, which provides me the really deep low end. It just fills the bass nicely. So there's some low end compressor, and then it enhances 55 Hz. Small amount, works great. And then the SSL 4K. Sometimes I use 4KG. Now on this mix it was 4KE. I'm not doing anything here usually, except using the color of the Jensen mic pre. This emulation is really good because I have, like I said, I have the real 4000 channel chip with the real analog Jensen preamp, and it's pretty much spot on, these SSL plugins. And then what I always have, always 100%, sometimes more, sometimes less, I have a Symphonic SPX90. It's this one. What it does, it's because the bass is dead center. This makes it wider, and there's chorusing. It makes it a little bit more alive. Listen with drums when this is off, and when I check it in, the bass kind of, it feels nicely the sonic spectrum. Many times I automate this, especially if there's no rhythm guitars when there's guitar solo. I usually automate this, sometimes I automate this louder so that the bass kind of feels more, because there's no rhythm guitars, so it feels the sides. Because these are now panned like this. Sometimes I automate this pan too, but this is the starting point, 40-40. Sometimes I might go 100, sometimes 80, whatever feels, depends on the mix. But this 40 is my starting point. Many times it ends up being there. Then I automate this amount of the symphonic chorus. So that's the bass sound. And then, so these both tracks, mono tracks, they go to this bus, which is stereo bus. It could be mono bus. It's just stereo because it's panned like this, so it's equal on both sides. And since these are mono, it's mono. And what I have here is a little bit of FabFilter Saturn 2. Okay, let's listen from the beginning, actually from here. It adds some nice warm tube, and then I'm again compressing this low end where this warm tube is. There is some drive on these other frequencies too, but mostly it adds this warm tube low end. It's very subtle. It's actually a little bit more apparent in the context of the whole mix. All of a sudden the bass just like, all right. And then I have the final EQ that is affecting both of these tracks. I go through these other plugins too that I use. So what I'm doing on this mix, let me show you. Let's put the drums on to what the EQ is doing. So I'm just adding a little bit of like 1000 hertz, which is kind of the peak attack. At least when I play, it's my kang. So that's being added 3B with a medium wide Q. And then 250, which is sort of this nice upper, almost upper mid kind of, lower upper mid frequency, which adds a nice presence. And that's on this one I'm boosting 3 dB also. And then I'm cutting everything about 8K. Well, it's not, because it's not brick wall. It's the slopes on SSL are fairly gentle, so it just rolls down the top because that's cymbal territory and so on. And then I'm taking a little bit of the really low, what is not needed, and then a tiny bit of compression on the bass just to glue these two tracks together. And it adds this too, because the SSL compressors, they have a sound, and the 4KE compression is kind of greedy compressor. So I'm using it for the compression and for the sound. It's just 2-to-1 ratio, like 3 dB of compression. So it glues the bass bus together nicely. Okay, then let's check out what other plugins I use. So these I've been using lately a lot: the Parallax, the PSA1. Sometimes instead of the PSA1, I'm using this Softube's Murder 1, which is a Lemmy Kilmister amp. Here's, there's two cabinets, and you can choose different microphones and EQ this. So this alone, this is now set up for clank, which I usually use it for. Just Lemmy clamp, and this one many times I use this with the Bogren's bass knob. Together they sound like this. This is the Bogren alone. Kind of, if I want really kind of more old school dirty bass sound, so this works for that. And then I also use this one. I actually used on CYHRA's forthcoming album, the Aurora DSP's Mammoth, on my preset called Dangle. This title and kind of this sound was inspired by Christian Kohle from Kohle Keller Studios. Then when we add the Marshall, or the PSA1, this one actually, if I remember correct, was and is the bass sound on CYHRA's forthcoming album. So Mammoth and PSA1 set to clank, but this set to bass rec, which is my rec, preset, and then the parallax is the one I've used on my YouTube demos lately. And obviously when I change these, if I change these different plugins, I need to probably EQ things a little bit differently, but not much. They all works. I dialed them the presets so that they work pretty well without just, if I just want to go through and switch them, and whatever works the best in any given mix, that's what I'll use. And the symphonic, it's an effect track, so it's parallel, and I'm sending the signal to the symphonic from this bass bus. And the bass and drums, they go both to the drum bus, DB, which is drum bus. And I have there, this I went through on my drum mix video. There's a, this true iron, which emulates like a transformers, different transformers. What I have here is a famous 1-ounce transformer using vintage blue stripe. So this is a transformer from 1176. And then this mid-side EQ. If you're interested about the mix bus, go check out my Punchy Drums, MIDI drums video. I go through the mix bus there, what it does and how it affects the sound. Link in there and probably in the description. But yeah, so this is the bass processing, and I play with the pick. I guess you figured that out too, because the sound is kind of clang clang clang, and some tips. Try to play as even as possible. Find a place, because especially with bass or recording DI, it really changes the sound, affects the sound where you pick. If you pick closer to the bridge, you get more clank. If you pick closer to the neck, you get a fuller sound and softer sound. So I changed that. If a part requires really clanky, if it's really fast thing, I pick closest to the bridge. If it's just like boom, some less notes, I might pick closer to the neck to get a little bit boost. I think I did it on this one. So this main riff, this is pretty fast and gang 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 gang. This was really close to the bridge. And then there's this part where I'm playing really not that much. It sounds like I picked actually pretty close to the bridge on this one too. It probably sounded better. Because you have to remember, the sound, you create the sound with your hands and with your instrument. All this other stuff is just enhancing it and amplifying it and, shaping it. But if the core sound is good, it will sound good basically no matter what you do. But if it's not good, if it's sloppy, it's not gonna sound good no matter what you do. The same goes with every instrument. Good player usually sounds good no matter the gear. Bad player usually sounds bad no matter the gear. So yeah, that was the bass sound. Hopefully this answered your questions, and I'll put links to these plugins I used on this video and what I use to the description below. The Boograin stuff, I have an affiliate link. So if you use my link or my code Euge230V, 230 volts, you'll get I think it was a 10% discount, and I will get a small commission, which is much appreciated. The PSA one, this comes with Pro Tools. If you don't have Pro Tools, then I'm sure there's, Sans and PSA plugins available from other companies as well. But I'm not aware of this because this works fine for me. SSL stuff, Mac DSP, Neural DSP. I don't have any affiliations or any links. I bought these like every other regular Joe of us regular Joes, guys or gals. And this is a Nearing, which I bought too. But I'll put links in there. And the Black Salt Audios, I bought these too. This EQ7, this is stock Pro Tools, but Pro Q4, whatever EQ that you can, do any basic DAW EQ. If you use Logic, it has something similar, so it'll work. Well, basically what I'm doing, I'm just cutting the boxy stuff out. A little bit like what I do for, toms. Actually really similar EQ what I use on toms. I might actually use the same EQ on toms sometimes. Okay, thanks for watching. Please let me know in the comments if there's more sound tips, tricks, mixing tips. If you're interested to hear how I do things, I'm glad to show you. Until next time, all the best, take care, bye.